Looking to achieve a healthier lifestyle but have little time? The Terrebonne General Executive Health Program can improve your overall health for a lifetime in one visit. With little to no waiting, you get a whole year of wellness in one convenient location. Our preventative screenings increase your well-being by providing early detection against illness. With exceptional VIP service, you leave with a plan in hand to achieve a healthier lifestyle tailored for you. Call the Terrebonne General Executive Health Team at 985-850-6204 today.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Bayou Time. I'm Martin False. Well, it's not often that I get to revisit a news story that I wasn't around for over 40 years ago. Specifically, 50 years ago, we had a deputy here in Terrebonne Parish that was involved in a chase, a robbery, and he was shot. But he lived to tell the story. And 50 years later, well, a lot of people got back together to honor him. And, of course, we're talking about Mr. Phillip Billiot, who worked for the Sheriff's Department and was recently honored at the rifle range. Let's listen in.
Thank you all for being here. And we honor Mr. Phillip, but I know we have Jerry Larpenter here, the sheriff, which I ended up, when he retired, I ended up getting elected, so that was a good thing. Hopefully y'all think so. But we have Carly Harding, which we have a council here. We have our former Senator Reggie Dupre, he's here. And we have our parish president, Jason Badgerow, here. So we do have a lot of elected officials here, but important, we celebrate a man. So I'll give you a little quick background, I think, on foundations on how it happened, on how things happen. First and foremost, we have retired and former law enforcement here. Where are you at? Stand up if you're former law enforcement, retired law enforcement, or in law enforcement in general, period. So just getting the basis, there's many people that's gone before us, but what we build today is for the people that's going to come after us. We have to build a future, but we cannot forget where we come from. We've come a long way in law enforcement. Like Mr. Billiot, was there a vest back in your day? Was there a vest? Was there a ballistic vest back then? So you look at where we were and then where we are now. But I always said, even in the police academy, everything we learn from the academy is lessons learned from our brothers and sisters that served before us. That's what it's about. But it's important to never forget where we come from and how we got here. And I think now we're going to go back in history about 50 years ago. So 50 years ago, this man gets shot in the chest and gets shot in the leg. He still chased a suspect down from Chauvin by the airport and puts him at gunpoint until he gets somebody to handcuff him. I'm going to tell you right now, that's a lot of testicles. I know it's on TV, just bleep it. But you know, the important part is that's about being driven, and that's a warrior. We try to train warriors every day that's out there doing a job, because, you know, most of the time it can be peaceful, but a lot of times it get real bad. I think this man has experienced the bad and overcame, and to this day, every time I meet that man, he's got the biggest smile I've ever seen in my life. But that's a blessing. But I want to celebrate that. We want to celebrate that. Never forget our history, how we got here, and he's part of that. So that's why we're here today. So I think we had a couple people wanted to recognize Chauvin brothers. If you want to come up. You got people in the community that recognize and want to recognize you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I want to introduce myself. I'm Tommy Chauvin. I represent the fourth generation of the Chauvin Brothers business down the Bayou. My cousin Chris represents the fifth. Chris Tucker, he's our president and general manager now of our corporation. And we were just totally amazed when we got this call that you're still here, that you're still coming around. And, you know, when I started in this business, starting to work at the store, it was the summer of 1975, just a few months after this incident happened. And of course, I wasn't in the building when it happened, but I heard the stories, obviously. Dad came home and said what had happened. And over the 50 years that I've been there, we've heard this story come up again from people saying, I remember when this happened. I mean, this was a big deal. We didn't hear these things happening in Houma, much less down the bayou. And, you know, what was stolen or attempted to have been stolen is insignificant. What's significant is your bravery and your commitment to upholding the law and protecting our interests as citizens of Terrebonne Parish. And we really appreciate your service and that heroism. And also, this year, we're celebrating our 150th year as being in business. And we're taking a lot of information and things put together for our history, and also reliving and going back and looking at our history. And you, my friend, are part of our history, and we appreciate everything that you've done to protect us and to do your job as in the Sheriff's Department. I want to just give you a little token of our appreciation for what you've done, not only for us, but for the parish. We have a commemorative 150-year cap and a $50 gift certificate to our store for your 50-year anniversary of this happening. And we thank you very much for that. And I also want to thank all of the personnel here, the law enforcement people, Sheriff Sonia, you and your men and women on the force are out there putting your lives on the line to protect us every day, both current and retired, and we appreciate that, and we owe you a debt of gratitude. Mr. Billiot, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We're going to have a lot more with Mr. Phillip Billiot, as many more were there to honor him. We had state police there, parish presidents, the sheriff, former sheriffs, and a lot of other people so instrumental in honoring Mr. Billiot. We'll be right back. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bork, know your rights. And welcome back as we continue to honor Mr. Phillip Billiot. And of course, he was involved in chasing down a robbery suspect 50 years ago. But he took a couple of bullets in the process, and not to be forgotten, we had former state representative, former Senator Reggie Dupree. We had the sheriff, the current sheriff, the former sheriff, state police were on hand. We also had the parish president. We had several others there to honor Mr. Billiot. Let's go back to the rifle range here in Terrebonne Parish and listen in.
Mr. Billiot, I think the parish president wanted to present you something. So we want to make sure we cover it out, and we're going to let you talk, but we probably might let Reggie, but he only agreed to talk 2 hours.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. So we have, they say it's key to the city, but it's really key to our parish and key to our hearts. So presented February 7th, 2025 to Mr. Phillip Billiot. We present the certificate in honor of outstanding service, bravery, excellence in law enforcement, service above and beyond the call of duty. The actions of Officer Billiot exemplify the profession of law enforcement. Signed, Jason W. Badgeron and Sheriff Tim Saunders. There you go, sir.
Yep, I'll get in the picture. I'll let Tom film too. Let's get on this side right there. There we go.
I just want to say, if you don't mind, thank you for your service. I think it takes a special person to run towards bullets, run into a fire, and I really appreciate what you do and all of our first responders do to take care of us and allow us to do what we do every day safely. Again, thank you. And if whatever door that opens, you get into.
I had a couple of them. I hadn't figured out what they open yet. So this is presented to you, which you're a lieutenant here, definitely, but you lieutenant. I'll make you a general. Deputy Phillip Billiot, appreciate your dedicated service to Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office and the community. Like I said, it's important we reflect on history, how we got here. That's what's built our country. When we forget it, we often lose. It's important to stay focused how we got here. And I think our law enforcement, our guys appreciate that. And I know I certainly do. But it's men like this that's paved that way for us. But again, we're forever in your debt and your gratitude. But we wanted to give you this, and I got another little thing for you. Now, I don't have no $50 gift card in there, but you can always go fill your coffee up for free back there.
I don't drink coffee.
Well, I got iced tea back there. There you go. We got you a cup, some coins, you can put iced tea in it. Fill that up for free too.
Y'all might not believe this, only those of y'all who was a little older than me might remember, but I used to be kid growing up in Pointe-à-Chat, very, very shy and reserved, and people said, well, what happened? So I don't know. So, but anyway, first of all, I want to thank all the law enforcement people that's here. You know, I've spent 43 years in public service. The most stressful job in my life was the 3 years I spent as a shift commander for the sheriff's office. I was the youngest one there, and you're always worried about the other 9 guys on your shift, whether you're sitting in proper backup and what's going to happen to them. Your worst nightmare is one of your guys, God forbid, gets shot or gets killed in the line of duty. That's always worried. Every good supervisor worries about that. And I was a junior in high school because I'm about the same age as Tommy. At the time this happened, of course, I knew Phillip. He lived in Pointe-à-Chat at the time, and everybody was talking about this incident at the time. Later, when I went to work for the sheriff's office, Phillip left for a little while, came back, I think in early 1980, became a lieutenant, and I think he was my shift lieutenant after Captain Babin got put, into the courthouse, and I became his sergeant, his assistant for a couple of years. And then later, I was promoted to lieutenant, and we were equals, and we've had a lifetime friendship since then. But I want y'all to think about something, things that was done right in this. And so often, with public service, including law enforcement, you only take score for a loss. People don't care about when somebody does something right, and that doesn't make headlines, but let an officer cross the line. Let a levee break. Everybody wants to take a picture of it. But if it works, they don't care. They just go on about their business. So that's the life we live in. But think about some of the things that were right in this incident. Now, first of all, 2 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, rather than sleeping somewhere or shooting the bull with his 3rd Ward East unit, which is right here. Tom McGidry, his backup unit, was sitting here. They was on the same shift. They both were doing their job and patrolling and found the burglary in progress. And after the guy jumped him and shot him, and he returned fire and hit him, I think, in the shoulder, he escaped in his car and chased them 14 miles at speeds at over 100 miles an hour from Chauvin Brothers in Localia up to the Houma Air Base. But the real testament comes after. That's the thing, just think about this. And about a third of y'all in here were in law enforcement. If you was in that position
You shot twice. You still got a bullet in your chest, fixing to pass out. You chase this guy 14 miles at high rates of speed, and he crashes, and you get out with your shotgun. What would you have done? This guy valued life so much, he held him, but could we have done the same thing? We never know. But that's the last thing that went right on this thing. He values life so much, he didn't even shoot the guy. And I can't say that not everybody wouldn't have done that after in that horrific situation. So thank you so much, Phillip, for your service and your friendship. And I'm so glad to be here to honor you on this 50th anniversary. Thank you.
He don't want to say nothing, but look, he's proud of his service, and we're proud of his service. That's the number one thing. Like I said, the man shows up. When he's in town, he visits. He cares about our officers, but he tells about it a little bit of history. You know, sometimes our younger officers need to pay attention because that's an important part. It's about the history. It's about how we got here, and I said it all day, but I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face or probably when I'm 6 foot under. Many people have come before us and paved the way. We need to appreciate that because that's where we are today. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for men like him and women that served and paved the way. From lessons learned as much as taking a bullet in the chest to now we have ballistic vests. And we have safety equipment. You didn't even have a portable radio. A radio in a car couldn't get to his radio. See, it's those things that's changed the dynamic. It's situations like that. But it's important to remember where we come from. And I promise you I won't forget. But thank you. God bless you. God bless your family. And I look forward to seeing you during the parades. I'm sure you're going to ride with us.
I know I'm overdressed, but I deeply appreciate the invite to come here and see all of you again. You know, all I do most of my time now is honeydews, and I love it. I miss the people. I really don't miss the job. I'll tell that to anybody. You know, 44 years in law enforcement is long enough. But I am happy to be here with this man who I communicate with a lot. He lives in Tennessee. Now he's moving to Louisiana again, but he's moving to the west part of the state. But we're here today to celebrate his life. We could be here to celebrate his 50 years of death. You know, when you talked about, when the sheriff talked about what we had back then, I started in 76. I wasn't here. I was in the military from 72 to 76. But when I came on this department, I know when Phillip started, he was making probably $300 or $400 a month. I started at a whopping $500 a month. And when you look at what we had, you mentioned it, no bulletproof vests, no portable radios, maybe one pair of handcuffs, and a 6-shooter. They had no such thing as an automatic. So, you know, when we look at that, and we also look at police cars, we drove family cars. A lot of people here remember, but these young officers, men and women, don't have a clue where we went to. Now, you have Chauvin brothers celebrating 150 years. Could you imagine 50 years ago, we didn't have what we have today? Could you imagine 100 years ago in law enforcement, they were on horses? So when we came 50 years ago, we had very little equipment, very little training. The training that I received wasn't from this building here that was built by trustees. It was training at Nichols State. We used to go to Nichols, they had an academy there, and they had also classes that they would offer. But today, law enforcement is way ahead of the game. And thank God that people like Phillip and the rest of you who spent your years in law enforcement made it through. Thank God we made it through. And thank God we had vision, not only as a sheriff, to make sure that your funds are spent right for equipment, for training, because you look at law enforcement today, I mean, the last 4 years, we have been under a black cloud. And thank God for President Trump, who's coming back to get rid of that woke bullshit and that law enforcement can be on the leading edge of helping our communities today. Because I'm going to tell you, it got to a point where, not here in Terrebonne, because I got to say this, the people of Terrebonne, the majority of people, because I kind of remind myself of Trump Jr., catching the hell and the lies that happened over the years as my term as sheriff. But you know what? I'm the kind of person, I didn't really give a darn. But we in law enforcement have to make sure that we give every opportunity, every piece of equipment, every piece of training to our men and women so that they can go home at night. Phil's very lucky. If he'd had a bulletproof vest on, it would have been over probably right there at Chauvin Brothers. Because I'm sure he took the guy out or he'd have probably wound up in the hospital. But you know, as most of us go through the ranks, as we all did, because you know, we all were able, those that were able to retire, stuck it out and you know, had to go find 2 jobs. But Phillip decided, when he decided to leave law enforcement, he decided to leave for a better opportunity. Because at that time, we were not making money. So over the years, as time goes on, we were able to do things for our people, not only pay raises and also insurance benefits. But again, it's not where it needs to be in law enforcement. It's not where it needs to be in a lot of places. But hopefully one day, all these young men and women in law enforcement can get there and get a good retirement and really enjoy life like I'm doing it. And I hope you all are enjoying life like I'm doing, because I'm really at the point where I don't give a hoot scoot boogie. I'm enjoying myself. And look, God bless America, God bless y'all, and God bless President Trump, and I hope he keeps kicking booty up there. Thank y'all. And thank you, Sheriff, for inviting me. Thank y'all very much. Thank you.
In 1980, I was a baby, just got out of high school, and I went to work for the sheriff's office. And quickly I met Reggie. We became roommates while we were at the sheriff's office, and Phillip was running. And I heard this legend about this guy who, chased a guy from Chauvin Brothers. And of course, the story grew over those 5 years. You know, it was, but it was a good story, and I've heard other stories too. But I will say this is that these guys taught me how to be a police officer and how to treat the public. And some of you may not know, I went on to a career in the state police. I retired as a lieutenant colonel in 2010. But it was right here at the sheriff's office that I learned how to be a policeman and how to treat people, from Phillip and Reggie and Jerry and some of them that aren't around, Mike Soley back then, and I'm sure there's others that I'm missing. But these guys worked hard for this community, but I never saw one of them abuse somebody from the public. It was just this, I mean, we'd chase like crazy, do crazy things or whatever, but once they were caught, and they got put in a car and they went on to jail and whatever they needed to do. So it was, if it wasn't for him, these guys, Phillip, Captain Kimball, and guys like that, I'd have never, ever had the career. I wouldn't have probably stayed in law enforcement to begin with, but I sure wouldn't have had the career. And about Phillip, we've stayed in touch over the years. He still contacts me. But I do remember a time, too, that I was always amazed with just his toughness or whatever. And I won't go into much detail, but one time on his way home, and he kind of ran his car off the road and caught a tree or whatever and messed up probably had broken bones, lost some teeth or whatever. And he came to work the next morning. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm coming to work. And I'm like, this guy's crazy. I mean, I don't know how's he going to do that? But it was fun, but it was a lot of fun. I learned so much that carried me through my career. But I think what I learned the most was work hard and respect people, and that's carried me through my whole life. So Phillip, thank you. Reggie, Jerry, all you guys that were there and we did that. It really meant a lot to me, and it really has stuck with me through my whole life and career. So thank you.
Well, my last thanks, my staff, please stand up. I mean, a lot of these guys, I have some in the back, but they were cooking. But I said a long time ago, the most precious thing our parish has is our law enforcement officers. That's the best resource we have. And I'm blessed with a good team, trust me. We love you. This is your home as long as I have a pulse, that I promise. You're always welcome to come back anytime, and I look forward to every time you visit. God bless you, and thank all of y'all for coming. And if y'all still hungry, they still got food back there.
And we'll be right back. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. And welcome back to Bayou Time. I'm Martin False. Well, I had a chance to sit down with Mr. Phillip Billiot, who was honored at the rifle range by many, and he, of course, thwarted a robbery some 50 years ago, and he's still here to tell the story. So, Mr. Phillip, what a day, and 50 years later, seems like everybody still remembers you.
Yes, it looks like it.
Yeah. Tell me about that day in Terrebonne Parish and that incident that they're honoring you for today. What a brave thing to do. And you did it because you love your job and it was your duty. But can you take us back a little bit?
Well, I was on routine patrol and I was headed south on LA 56 when I saw a car parked in front of Chauvin Brothers and a broken glass on the door. So I notified the office. I made a U-turn and parked behind the car that I saw was parked northbound. So I made a U-turn, parked behind the car, gave the license number, description of the car, told the office I'd be checking the outside of the building while my backup was en route, and I went to check the south end of the building. I was walking between between my unit and the other car and the highway when the guy jumped up in front of his car and took 3 shots real fast. The first one got me in the chest, second one got me in the left leg, third one missed me completely. And my backup was 14 miles away. So, but I was checking the outside. I didn't get to the north end of the building. That's when he started shooting.
But how did you continue the chase when you were shot twice?
The bullet in the chest just felt like somebody punched me in the chest. And we jumped up and down around his car taking pot shots at one another. And all I did was graze him on the left arm. I took one last shot when he was pulling away to try to get a tire, and I shot too high, hit the bumper. And so I jumped in, threw my pistol on the front seat, not knowing that I had emptied it, and started chasing him. And when I caught up, we ran one road. Tommy Guidry was my backup. He was coming down. We met him about halfway up from Chauvin Brothers, and he turned around, but he never saw us again, and because his car would only do 105, and we averaged over 100 miles an hour from Chauvin Brothers to the airbase. And we ran a roadblock at Woodlawn Ranch Road in 56. Deputy George Bergeron had set up the roadblock there. We ran around him on the southbound shoulder, gravel shoulder. We was doing over 90 miles an hour when we went by him. And then there was another roadblock on the airbase, but it was north of where we turned off onto the airbase, and the guy turned off on a road that was blocked with pipes and drums. But he crashed into that and jumped out the car, and I jumped out with the shotgun and racked the shotgun back and hollered at him, and he stopped because he I guess he figured when he heard that shotgun rack back, I ought to just shoot him in the back. And that's,
And just for historical purpose, was Sheriff Roseanne's back in the day?
yes, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
And what was his reaction when all this was going down?
He, the office called him sometime after it started. He came to the hospital, after I was at the hospital. Tommy Guidry was one of the deputies that night. He was my backup. He wound up getting to the airbase before the Acadian got there, and he took me to the hospital from there.
Yeah, you had some important people in the room. You had former Sheriff Larpenton, former Senator Reggie Dupree, and you had 3 members formerly of the state police. You had parish presidents. It's a pretty big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, more than I thought it was going to be.
And you had a nice meal.
Yeah, it's very
Your
good.
family
Yeah,
is here with you. What does that mean to you?
two of my daughters here, and niece and godchild. So yeah, means a lot.
Some tell me you don't take all this too serious. You're one of those very humble people that goes with the flow, and probably a big surprise for you today, right?
It was more than I thought it was going to be. Yeah, it was more than I thought it was going to be.
But that's what they think about you.
Yeah,
So obviously, you made a great impact on a lot of people.
I've always tried to be nice to people.
And it paid off. Congratulations on a great day, and thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Well, that wraps up our Bayou Time. Congratulations to Mr. Phillip Billiot for his award, and thanks to the many who got together to remember those that came before us so that those of us can also pave the way for the future. I'm Martin False for the entire crew here at HTV. We'll see you on the next go-around. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality.